So that is how you select layers. Let me get on a layer. Okay. Okay, now let me show how to delete layers. So even though, and you can select layers, even though it's not visible, I can still select this layer. So if I want to delete a layer, I select it, hit the delete button, which is the trash can icon, and it's gone. Also, another way to delete a layer is to drag it to the trash can, and it will disappear also. Just took away my selection. Okay, so those are the ways that you can delete a layer. Now, selecting objects. And we touched on this a little bit earlier, so I'm going to go a little bit more in depth right now with it. So, let's say, so here I have a copy of this object. So let me see, let me do one thing. Another thing with selection, creating layers, I forgot to tell you, let me just jump back, is that I can select a couple, 2 or 3 or more. I can select those, and I can go to new layer. Whoops, go to layer options. I didn't want to create a new layer, so let me just select these again. Okay. All right, so I want to select these 3, and now I wanted to collect in a new layer. And now everything that was in that layer is now a new layer 9, and everything that was there is now a sub-layer of this layer. And also I can create sub-layers of layers. So I can go down here, create a new sub-layer, and a new sub-layer is created there. Alright, so I just wanted to finish that up for a new layer. Okay, now back to selected objects. Now here, I have these objects here, and also I have them there on layer 9. So I'm going to lock the object layer that I have, and it's invisible right now. And now I want to find this apple. So let me go to my direct selection tool. Now you have a lot of layers. If you just select it here, it'll immediately show you what layer is on, so it opens up and displays it. But I could tell it's on the sub layer because I still see this little triangle, and I know there's more underneath it. So it didn't open it up specifically. So another way to do it, so let me deselect that, get this back there. So now let's see if it finds it on the specific layer when I hit the locate object icon. Okay, now this is exactly what I wanted. So now it's showing me exactly where the apple is. Okay, so that's the way to find objects. So, and this is good if you have a lot of objects all over the place and layers and layers, layers upon layers. So that's a way to quickly find where it's at. Okay, so that is how you select your objects. Okay, so now let's go to editing layers. So I can editing layers simply refers to changing the order of the layers. So I just hold and drag, and when I see a bold outline, then I know I'm going to put that underneath. I can put it back, move it up. So to go all the way to the top here, well, I actually do it the reverse way and get that back on top. So I can go down, so I can select here, move this layer down, and now it's underneath this layer. So it's still there, hasn't gone anywhere, it's just underneath. So again, I'll just hold, drag, and when I see the outline, then I know the layer is where I want it to be. Okay, so that is one way to arrange the layers. Now also you can duplicate layers. Go here, duplicate objects, and now you see a copy of that layer. All right. Now another way to duplicate a layer is to select a layer and drag it over the new layer button, and now you get another copy. Okay, so that is the way to get more layers. All right, so that is edit layers. Okay, now let me just make these invisible, make the layer that I want. Okay, so now we're back. So now the template layer. Template layers are good for drawing, tracing over a photograph or drawing or any image that you have available. So to create a template layer, I click template and it dims the images to 50. There's no preview here, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so the linked image is 50%, but the vector are not. So it's only going to, that's why it's only good for tracing. So something that you previously scanned in or a raster object that you're using. So, but it has no effect, the dimming effect has no effect on any vector objects. So the template layer is pretty much only good for tracing. Now also you see here that it's in italics, and that also means that it's created, and I double click to get this layer options window up again. This is going to be a non-printing layer. So here you see print is deselected. So even though these are grayed out, they're still selected. So it's locked. It's still showing. It's showing the preview, and your only option is to change the percentage of dimming. So I usually like to do between 20 and 30. So it depends upon the image, because if I'm tracing something, I really want to see what I'm tracing more than the image. You know, this is just a guide for me. Okay, so that is how you create a template layer. All right, so I pretty much completed that. So that is layers and how to use them. So now let's look at your homework. Okay, for your homework, I want you to create some objects on one layer, some vector objects, and move individual objects to their own layer. So do everything on one, and then all those objects you created, create some new layers and place those objects on individual layers. Now also make a layer called background and move those elements into sublayers. So all your objects will become foreground objects with their own name on their own layer, and then a separate layer will be called background, and you'll put some of those objects on the background and then create some sublayers underneath your background layer. Okay, so that is your homework for today. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And again, they'll get better as they go along because they're much more interesting, but you got to lay a firm foundation because all this stuff builds on the other. So if you know this right now, it makes it easier for you to concentrate on your drawing, painting, you know, whatever you're creating, because this has to become second nature to you. You can't be in the process of creating something and then wondering, where's the scissors tool at? You know, just this whole disturbs the creative flow. So put the effort in now to learn these two things. Well, the things I've taught you in the first two lessons. Okay, I promise you, you won't regret it. Okay, so let's go out and just create.